The next thing that the alt-right likes to say is that white people have the monopoly on inventing things. They'll say that white people invented everything and non-whites didn't really contribute. Everywhere that white people go, they're the inventors. They're the ones that are coming up with all the innovations. Oh yeah, well, let's look at some inventions that Native Americans came up with. How about rubber? Native Americans in the Mesoamerican as well as the South American regions were the ones that came up with the rubber ball, and they also used rubber as waterproofing on certain substances. Now, Goodyear in the 1800s, he was the one that actually vulcanized rubber, but he wouldn't have been able to come up with that idea without the inventions of Native Americans that came before him. Native Americans invented syringes. Native Americans would use the quill of certain birds, use that as an actual syringe to irrigate wounds and whatnot. How about the pyramids in Mexico? The pyramids in Tenochtitlan, those took a lot of ingenuity and architectural prowess to be able to build. So you want to talk about how you think other races other than whites are savages, the Native Americans have a lot of stuff for you there. So if you have rubber tires, if you chew gum, thank a Native American because that's where it came from. How about agricultural techniques that even helped the Europeans survive when they came over here and didn't know what they were doing with agriculture, basically. How about the cultivating of corn and peanuts, both of which had to be cultivated, had to be selectively bred to produce results that were usable for human beings. Now, I don't think you can find an American who doesn't either have potatoes, tomatoes, peanuts, or corn in their diet in some way. So those were the result of Native American agricultural inventions. So you have non-white groups who come up with some very important inventions. The idea that whites have a monopoly on inventions is that's as bad as the social justice warrior leftist revisionist history that says that all white men in the past were just a bunch of racist, evil rapists or whatnot. You have people who say that about white people. Well, you know what? That's bad revisionist history. But you know what? It's just as bad revisionist history to say that white people invented everything and white people are like the gods of earth or something like that. Those are both extremes. It's an extreme when you overly aggrandize and overly lift up white people, but it's also an extreme when you overly put them down. Both are extremes. Have it in balance, folks. White people are human beings like the rest of society too.